G'day guys, Sam from the Footy Gods with you here again for another player review. This time it's Angus Brayshaw from the Melbourne Demons. Now, had a great season last year, average 100 on the dot after a move to the midfield sort of just under halfway through the year. We'll go through his scores in a minute. So 176 highest score. I mean, that was early on in the year, round 3, when he was still playing at half-back. And if we look at the stats from that game, so he's had the 34 touches and 20 marks. So that's massive. That's just seagull stuff. That's just Essendon just bombing it long and him just tidying up all day. So bit of an outlier there, which obviously affected his average. But we'll go through and have a look. So since he went into the midfield, some pretty handy numbers. 104, 97, 107. You can see here 54 against North, maybe a bit of an outlier. And then, yeah, just continued on his good form. Pretty solid. Only sort of 3 or 4 scores under that 90 mark. So really impressive year last year from Angus Brayshaw. But as we always do, let's go through our formula and see if he's a good pick or not. So scoring pedigree. Does Brayshaw have the scoring pedigree? So we'll look through his history. Yeah, decent year in 2018 from the 19 games. Managed to average 97.1, but you know, hasn't really done a hell of a lot since then. So I just can't say the scoring pedigree's there yet. Yep, good year last year, 100 on the dot, but there's a question mark there. He doesn't have the scoring pedigree yet. Scoring potential, well, we saw what he can do in round 3. 176, but again, bit of an outlier. We can't get too swept up in that. I think his scoring potential is more around the 130 mark. You know, he's only had, when he went into the midfield, he's only had the one score over 130, and that was 130 on the dot. And 1, 2, 3, 4 scores over 120. So I wouldn't say there's massive scoring potential there. There's a question mark there. I don't think his ceiling or scoring potential is that massive, especially with all the other midfielders that Melbourne do have. His consistency, however, pretty good. He's a pretty solid player. He gets a big tick there. If we look at his scoring, like I said, since going to the midfield, yeah, 54. We can just, you know, write that off as an outlier. But yeah, 3 scores under 90, or 4 scores of that one. So big tick, really consistent player. Is he trending upwards? Not really. No, if anything, he was trending downwards and then moved to the midfield. So, yep, obviously a massive jump from 2021 to 2022. So that's a good trend there, but it's only a 1-year sample size. So we'll leave a slight question mark there. I mean, he's trending upwards in terms of his second half of the year. So we'll give him a pass mark there, because he did trend upwards nicely when he went into the midfield. We're not picking him for a VCC option. Doesn't have the scoring potential to do that. Tenure, yep, that's a tick. He'll be playing every game, locked in there. I think he's pretty durable. Let's look at his recent games. So he missed 3 games in 2020, but apart from that, pretty solid. Big tick. And that's what you want. If you're going to be paying up for these guys, you want to have this one as a big tick. So this is the big one here. What's his role look like? Is he full-time mid? That's the big one. If he's full-time mid, then he could be a very solid pick at his price because of his consistency. So we can rely on the scores, which makes him a good pick if he's full-time mid. Halfback, probably not. If he's playing halfback, then he's not that top 8 or top 6 to 8 defender, unfortunately. Yeah, we've seen it. He just can't. He doesn't get the numbers needed to get halfback defender top 6. Other factors, again, we've got to see what the coach wants to do. Does he play as that third midfielder with Petrarca swapping out? We don't know. We'll have to watch in the preseason. Is there value there? He's he's priced at 100. Yep, break even 100 on the dot. So 550k. I don't think there's not a lot of meat on the bone there. I don't think he's going to really. And you got to remember this average is with 176 in there. Yeah, 54 as well, but that really bloats his average up. So I think there's very minimal value in this pick. Is he a keeper? Potentially. Again, if he has that mid-roll, he could be a keeper. He could average over 100 and be a keeper in our team. So that's a tick from me. Does he fit your team structure? Yeah, he's pretty awkwardly priced. So he's not quite the primo price, not quite a value price. So awkward price. So yeah, we got to make a decision there. If we are picking Brayshaw, where does he fit? Maybe D2. I don't feel great about Brayshaw D3. It just doesn't feel very good. So yeah, awkward there. Something to think about. And it is a big risk because only 2% of teams have him. So a big risk to take on a player that may be playing half back and getting us 90s, which would be not great. So it is a risk. Definitely something to think about for sure. Let's have a look at his fixture. So Melbourne's fixture. Haven't seen Melbourne's fixture yet. Let's have a look. So pretty tough start to the year. Bulldogs, Brisbane, Sydney in the first 3 weeks. Is that right? Am I on the right year? Yep. Yeah, so tough start. And then it gets a bit of relief here. West Coast away, Essendon in Adelaide, and Richmond as well. So first 6 weeks are pretty tough. And then the next few are pretty good. So I would say reasonably tough. Definitely. Could they tag him? He is an outside player. He is that ball user. So I think there is potential for a tag on Brayshaw. If he's hurting him on the outside with his ball use, I can't see why coaches wouldn't think about tagging him. They're not going to tag Oliver, I don't think. He's pretty much untaggable. Obviously Petrarca will attract a tag, but there is slight potential there. It's small, but it is potential. Does he have history in your team? Has he burnt you before? I can see where coaches would have gone, oh, yeah, he's trending upwards nicely here. Bang, he's added 25 points on his average. And then, he's really burnt coaches here. So I can definitely see where he could have burnt coaches in the past, for sure. So we mentioned his ownership, 2%. So it could be a great pod. If he's playing midfield with his consistency, he could be a great pod for you. Just ticking along hundreds, 110 each week for you. So could be a great pod. Pod potential for sure. We spoke about Melbourne, how they like to play. So I think he does play as the third/fourth mid with Track and Viney rotating to half forward. So, and when he's not there, he'll obviously play half back. Who knows? He might play on the wing. He might play half forward. We don't know what he'll be doing when he's not in the midfield, because Salem is back. Obviously, Bowie is emerging. So, yeah, a little bit of a question mark on the role for me, big time. So, having said that, I think my gut feel is, with his low ownership, with the question mark on the role, I think he's an avoid for me. I have tinkered with the idea of having in my team with his consistency, but there's too many unknowns here. With his pedigree and potential, he can't really go big. Apart from that one game where Essendon just kicked it to him all day, I think it's too risky for me. I think there's better options around his price, and we can look elsewhere. So, are you going to start him? Are you going to take the punt on a bit of a pod? We won't be. We don't recommend it, but by all means, if you want to back in your gut, as always, back in your gut, and he should deliver at least. If he's playing midfield, he should deliver consistent scores for you. So, if he's playing mid, it won't be a terrible pick. Are you going to pick him? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and we will keep going. We'll keep busting these videos out and giving you what you want. So let us know what you want to hear next, and like and subscribe as always. Until next time.